Hi, this is Per from Canecto. I'm here today to talk to you about how to make content on your website without analytics. You might say that's a bit strange. Why would I want to do that and so on? We'll get back to that later, because why wouldn't I measure the most important thing on my website? Because you've probably heard this before, but you lose 95% of your customers or potential customers on your website, right? So you spend a lot of energy, time and money to get people on the website just to figure out that 95% of them will be lost and will never come back. So content is important. It's much more important than probably everything else you do on your website. And the reason for that actually has to do with how we are as humans. Yeah, it's a bit philosophical, but it's true. People react or respond to what they read and what they can see and what they can hear. And they're influenced by it. So when they come to the website, of course it's important that the website looks nice. It's also important that the navigation works, that you have nice visual pictures and so on. But the most important thing is actually what they read and what they write. It's what they see on your website that convinces them to make the actions that you want them to make. You build trust by letting them read the website and so on. So it's the content that drives the users to take the actions that you want. Of course, UX is important. If your buttons is too low or too high and so on, they wouldn't see them. But eventually they would buy a product or not buy a product based upon how convincing or not convincing you have written your content. Are you a trustworthy brand? Do they trust you? Can they see the potential in the product? Is it presented the right way and so on? Everything like that has to do with content. All the other elements are important, but you can have the best UX, you can have the best design in the world. If the content doesn't really work, you will never get any sales. So content is important. So why not measure it? You can then ask the other question around you and say, why should you measure it? Because if you just reflect a bit about what I said before on the content and so on, what's important about the content is actually the message. It's what you say, it's how you say it, it's how you present it and so on. All these things has to do with the what you could say editorial concept of the content. How's the flow, how's the wording, is it a convincing text and so on. Everything has to do actually with how you present the content, your message and so on. Is that flow going as it should? That has to do with the quality and interpretation of your messages and so on. And if you compare that world with normal analytical world, if you can say that, then those two worlds are very different. Because of course you can see how many people come back, how many people go from A to B and so on. But that's just a result of how well your content has made them take the actions that they want to do. So measuring those elements will of course tell you a bit about how the users interact and so on. But the core element, the real reason why they do what they do, has to do with your message and so on. And conventional web analytics doesn't tell you anything about this. It just tells you, it's like the shadow. It shows you what the users have been doing, but not why they have been doing it. So you can spend all the time in the world analyzing this and getting an understanding about how people flow and so on. But the real reason why they take the actions they do has to do with the messages that you have written on your website. So when we say that you should create content without analytics, what we mean is that of course you should measure all the things that I said before, but you shouldn't put too much effort into it, because that's not really important. The important part is that you reflect on how your content is working, that you maybe tweak it a bit. If an article has been posted for 3 months, you go in and then maybe rewrite it to make it better, try to make it shorter, try to make it longer, maybe change the composition of how it works and so on, to see how that works, because by the end of the day it'll be the editorials set up, the messages that you're trying to give to your customers or potential customers that decides whether or not your users will do what you would like them to do. So that's what you should have you focus on. The other things, of course, are relevant and so on, and they can help you improve your sales in many ways. That's proven, and there's lots of tools that can help you do this. But that's secondary. If the core, the quality of your content is not as it should be, then the rest really doesn't matter. So that's what you should have your focus on. So it's not entirely true when we start, or I start the claim with that you can do content on a website without analytics, because you can't. It's just a different kind of analytics that you need than conventional analytics, measuring users, how they do and so on, because that's not make or break for the business. It's nice to know, but focus on your content and how that works, because that's what really matters. Okay. This might be a bit different, the message anyway, than what you have seen before. I hope it makes sense to you. We have more on our YouTube channel, and if you go into Canecto.com, then you can find articles about this topic and more. Yes, please do. Thank you.